Bachelor's Wife and Other Stories has been an immersive experience. All of us are familiar, right from the days of Adikavi Valmiki's Ramayana to Ramcharitmanas and Kamba Ramayana and other interpretations of the Ramayana. Every era has found meaning through television, to theatre, art, and other forms of expressions. So contemporary writers continue to interpret and reinterpret the Ramayana. Sometimes they deviate from Valmiki's narratives. At other times they are in consonance and they try to visualize and reimagine Valmiki's Ramayana. But at all times they strive to bring the modern sensibilities into account, and that's how we've all read the Ramayana. But what makes Ashok and Shweta's Ramayana different? So first of all, hearty congratulations to both of you on this bold and courageous step. So, what makes this book different is it has focused on untold perspectives from the Ramayana. So characters Shanta, Sampati, Jatayu, Vayu, Indrajit, especially Indrajit, I wanted to stress, yes. All of Meghnad. So they're all characters exemplary in their own way. So that is what has made this book different, and we are going to talk to Ashok and Shweta and get more perspectives on this. So thank you all for joining us, and please stay for as long as you can. And I'm sure you will have some interesting insights to take away at the end of this. So, congratulations once again. Ashok, I know you as a poet, as an author of several books and fiction author as well. You have many books to your credit, you said 10 books. Now, I'm very curious to know how you shifted from a poet to an author, and how did that transition bring you to write a book such as this. I know it's not a retelling, and you've given untold perspectives through various characters which we are going to discuss. So please tell us about your journey, apart from the venture capitalist profession of yours.
So the shift from being an author to a poet to an author was not overnight. It happened over a period. I have been writing short stories, which is like, we observe something, you observe a person on the road, you observe, so my first book was A City Full of Stories, which is basically more like observational fiction, if you want to call that. So I like to get into, characters, whether it's a real person or a mythological character, and explore what the character would have really gone through. See, normally what happens is when you read Ramayana in its original form, it is a chronos way of telling story, which is, it's like a narrative. Okay, Valmiki is one of the best poets I can vouch for now that I am a humble follower, or we have followed on his footsteps. The more important thing that I learned is that I think the story goes in a particular velocity, okay. But when you have the habit of, listening to people and understanding what that person has gone through, everybody has a story to tell. Like Maya Angelou says that, if everybody has an untold story, which I think we can talk about for ages. Now, why not that in Ramayana? That's how the perspective shifted, and we could have written many other stories, but when we picked up certain stories, I think we had, as a reader, like right from where our Dadi Nani or parties, tatas used to tell the stories, and then that's how we learned Ramayana, when we were taught at home, that's how most of us got exposed to Ramayana. Some of us have taken more interest and gone into the literary route, or I think as we age and mellow, we have the time and space to go back to the epics. These are two popular journeys of, two popular journeys that we have. But the third popular journey is, have we found the answers that we want from the epic? Okay. and then you start relating to each of the characters, each of the situations, and that is when we discovered the whole aspect of, okay, there is a set of stories that we can always talk about, and that laid the ground for this journey in terms of Bachelor's Wife and other stories.
So that is wonderful, and you've been exposed to it right from your childhood. That's what, and Shweta herself is like that. I'm sure everyone here has read the Ramayana. At least our Amar Shatra Kathas, we've all had exposure, and Rajaji's Ramayana in school, many of us have read, and many other versions. Personally, for me, every day I chant Pasurapadi Ramayana, and my son was born on Hema Ravi, so I can take. So Rama is with us always. Okay, that apart. So you've given voice to the marginalized. Shanta, Jambavan, Indrajit, as Sir said, and many other characters. So each of them are exemplary in their own way. Particularly the story of Shanta, it left me teary-eyed for a long time. Now, the Pancha Kanyas are revered. Ahalya, Draupadi, Sita, Tara, Mandodari are all revered for their dharmic strength, resilience, wisdom, and everything else. Now, Shanta, in fact, I can draw parallels with her to Kunti of the Mahabharata, only that Shanta's sacrifice was totally silent and she remained Rama's elder sister. Many of us don't know about it. A few of us who have read Valmiki's Ramayana, there's just a hint. There are experts who can talk about it later. So what sort of, how did you, so tell us about that, and how did you choose, do you think Shanta deserves a rightful place among the Pancha Kanyas? Because her role is exemplary and she has done all the, through utter silence, the sacrifice has been made. So can you highlight that part for us?
So I think I would request Shweta also share her thoughts on. Yeah, I would call it Shatakanyas now that we can add her after our endeavor. For us, we didn't know that. So the discovery of Shanta, I'm not the first one to do, by the way. Kritiva's Ramayana, which is probably one of the most, I would say, offbeat Ramayans, that was, that it is popular Bengali. Till Rabindra Sangeet took over, Tagore's culture took over Bengal. Kritiva's Ramayana played a very important role in the, day-to-day life and culture of in the 15th, 16th, and early 17th centuries. It is a very feministic rendition of Mahabharata, the most feministic rendition of Mahabharata. So there are 2-3 instances, in fact I've leaned not only on Shanta but also on another story called Untimely called Akal Bodhan, which is the genesis of today's Durga Puja in Calcutta. So, and it goes back to Adisesha. The story. You'll wonder what is the link between Adisesha and Durga Puja. There are 2 stories which kind of bring them together. Indrajit happens to be a very center of it. And this if this can't excite somebody who is in a path of journey, discovery, I think all of us will fall in love with such situations that, for example, if you take Shanta, I think she's done something for Rama which nobody else can and hasn't gotten anything back out of it. I think it's an act of supreme sacrifice and to live a life out of it, and then finally the way the story is actually told retrospectively, where she is in her last moments telling the story to Lava and Kusha. I think that's how we structured the story. And I think the journeys of how she was systematically marginalized, not because of anything. The story is about Rama, so obviously we don't expect all the characters to get equal light. And Rama is not only a hero, but he is Narayana himself, and there is no 2 ways about it. But we should understand that as much Hanuman contributed more visibly, okay, there were other characters who, in their own way, even the small squirrels that we know have contributed to the success of Ram. And Ram, in fact, is so generous to acknowledge all the contributors. Okay, so we thought that is the spirit of discovering Shanta. That is, if Rama, were with me today, and he knew what we knew, would he not give the limelight? Was the question, you know. And he's been generous to even the squirrel, right? The little thing that moved, you know, like small pebbles. So that is what inspired us to look at Shanta boldly. Okay, the Rama is with us when you're telling this story, so why not? So that's how this story came out.
And struggles are not only for the protagonist. You know, everybody is exemplary in their own way. They all have these dharmic struggles, and you know, with utter strength, you know, strength and struggles are common for all. We are going to discuss more. Yes, Shweta.
So, thank you, ma'am. So, to begin with, Ramayana is not a story of lizards. So, everybody in their own role, in their own periphery is great, and is great enough to be told and retold and remembered again and again. Now, coming to your point, why we have taken Shanta. So there are characters in Ramayana which are known, and there are characters which are lesser known. And then Shanta, which was hardly known to anybody in the circle also. When we wrote the book and when we went to the audience and people were like, who is Shanta and why is she not mentioned? So why she not mentioned was the pinpoint that she has to be mentioned. Number one this. Number two, as you asked that why not include Shanta in Panch Mahakanya. So Panch Mahakanya are Panch Mahakanya for a reason, because of the kind of birth they have. They have all celestial births. One of their parents were not humans. Somebody was born out of Yagyagni. Somebody was born out of a celestial nymph. For example, Mandadari, you said she was born to Hema. Hema was an Apsara. So, which was not the case with Shanta. Shanta was born to biological parents, and we are talking of time where great or independent or fierce women were not in dearth, right? We have Dati, we have Anusuya, we have Bhaswati. So India was always a land of strong and staunch women. So there's no point including everyone, and everybody cannot be into Panch Mahakanya, and they have their own respect and their own aura in their own particular way. We came to Shanta because we thought her story should reach people, and maybe people at this time and age would be able to relate to her sacrifices, her point of view, and what silent contribution women make to a man's life each single day without saying, without not saying it.
Now, I think Shanta, for me, became the platform to ask the questions that we dare not ask Ram otherwise. Okay, I'll tell you. And this is the stage where Ram is married. He's the emperor. Okay, he sent Sita in exile. Lavan Kushar. Okay, he's in his supreme. The Ram Rajya is in its peak. Okay, now. After that is when the situation starts in terms of, I think he's implementing the Guptachar system, which is the listener system, where he wants to solve problems before they happen. That is the Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya is, if there is an undercurrent, I will fix it. Okay. So in fact, Shanta is bold enough to ask Ram, see, if 14 years of silence of Bharata indicates peace and success in running Ayodhya, in Ram's, how can Ram be better? Nobody talks about Bharata's rule, but why everybody is talking about Ram Rajya? We have tried to answer that question also. And to Ram, there is only one point, okay, which I think Rama says only one thing. My word is the law, which means it goes back to Tyagaraja Kirtana. I have kind of touched upon it earlier elsewhere. Okay, Oka Banamu, Oka Matalu, and then Oka Mata, Oka Bariya. So that sloka was where I got the answer. Okay, now what separates Ram from everybody else and why he is called Maryada Purushottam is in okay, so I just wanted to connect, but Shanta became the platform for us to ask and answer that, get the answer from Ram himself, because Ram's mothers couldn't ask that question. Ram's brothers would have just followed him. They can't question him because they are 100% Anuj, very compliant brothers. Of course, Sita couldn't ask because Sita anyway is part of his decision making. Now we have questioned that also. So, but after all of that is where we get the answers. And believe me or not, after doing this exercise, treating Ram like a very normal human, I still feel that, I am more convinced that the title of Maryada Purushottam is the most deserving for him. Okay, so it's not that now I am trying to just accommodate somebody's view here, but it is my own questions that we have asked and answered in this. Okay, and that is what in the last two chapters, this Bachelor's Wife book, we have tried to ask and answer bold questions. But you will see the way Ram is handling. I think I was like, I was very, it was my enlightenment point of the book.
Yeah, Maryada Purusha Rama, coming to it in the conclusion, because I thought let's analyze your book, and definitely because of his exemplary, what do I say, he was totally upholding Dharma, and when he came in human form, he's Narayana, yes you say, but when he came in the human form, obviously he had to follow certain, and that is why. So we are going to discuss a little more. Now, in your preface, Ashok, you said the book did not become a collection initially. You had just one story, Chink in the Armor. I love that title, very interesting. And I think after about 2 years with creative inputs and a lot of inputs from Shweta, the final redemption, which is the last story in this book, happened. And you've also written this journey as a lot of, you went through a lot of transcending literature, you went through personal sorrows, and a lot of other things happened. And it was a voyage of self-discovery also you had mentioned. So I would like you to discuss that a little bit.
Okay, so this book actually happened because when I was sitting in hospital, Isabel Hospital, not very far away from here. My mother was, in and out of hospital. She had, kidney, heart, a deadly combination of, creatinine, sodium, potassium, all of that in September 2021. And but when she was in ICU, there was those times where we used to sit in the, I say ICU treats the patients well, but not the caretakers. You have to sit outside in dealing with mosquitoes and all that, right? So that is when we realized that we can do something. We're sitting, we tried Netflix, but all of that had its own, limitations. So beyond the typical human mundane life is when this occurred to me that I'll write one story, Chink in the Armor. Chink in the Armor is basically, because it was about death of Ravana, that's how the story starts. Rama is so gracious enough to, discover the good side of, Ravana. Ravana being, I think, a thespian, a luminary scholar, Shiv Bhakt, all of that together. You can be an exemplary person, and what is that one thing that would put him down, And it is not the first time. Sita Haran was the last nail in the coffin for him, but there had been one trait before that which really pushed him to behave the way he behaved, and that was his ahankara. He had, and that is why Shiva leaves him. That is why Vali defeats him. That is why Kartavirya Ravana defeats him. So all the defeats he has faced is not because of his prowess or his scholasticity. It is purely based on his ahankara. If there was one chink in his armor, and that manifested in different forms, including Sita. Okay, because how many times from his wife Mandodari, his brothers Vibhishana, even Indrajit, we cover that in Indrajit also. Every time he comes back with only one response, that I am. So any leader, and this is a valuable lesson, looking back. that you have ahankara. A leader is supposed to be humble. That is the first quality of a leader. Now that was the chink in the armor. That's how it started. And if you see the stories, most of the stories, I've always looked back retrospectively. Rama's last day. I've looked back at Indrajit's last day. So everywhere I've kind of looked life retrospectively, and even Brother's Choice. There's another interesting story where the younger brothers, Vibhishana, Bharatha, and the second brothers, and Sugriva. These three people meet and then discuss over a cup of coffee. It's a hypothetical situation, but all of them challenged or were in a different on the other side of the table compared to the elder brothers. On all the three elder brothers, Sugriva, Vali, Ram or Raman, all of them were alpha people. They were gods or heroes or top people. Now, given that situation, how that turned out to be in terms of their own life, did they have a choice to make, or they couldn't, right? That is where the story kind of evolved, right? So, from a perspective of the book also has a retrospective, and therefore it uses the opportunity to evaluate and analyze analyze a lot of things.
Now that we see characters, how did you choose what characters were to be included, and have you, in case you omitted certain characters, rather you chose them, their voices remained silent. So was there a conscious choice to choose certain characters? Shanta, yes. Indrajit, yes. And Angada and Vibhishana. I've read through everything. So was there a conscious choice in letting certain characters remain silent? Any of it?
I think the question that we asked is, did it make you a better person? I said yes, unequivocally yes. And I've talked about it, when you question about, Sita going to Valmiki's ashram and Ram making that tough decision between the wife and the country, I think that is one of the most debated questions in Ramayana. There are better answers, we have tried to answer that. But I think after sitting back and looking at it, and then finally concluding that, with Tyagaraja Chitnaito, I think if a person can be trusted, I think that is the biggest honor. Because if you trust me enough to come and ask me for help, that is the honor you bestow on me. Today, in these tough times where we are operating in a low trust world, we are not led by trust, we are led by samshaya, we are led by doubt, we are not led by trust. Okay. Ram is a timeless example of why trust. People should lead with trust. And that is where keeping the word becomes so important. Okay. And today I think how many promises we have all made in our lives that we have kind of not even bothered to, I am my own example of coming here at 5 was a promise.
So there is something like the force major tradition, act of God.
Correct.
See, God has given the opportunity to welcome you. So we are grateful to you.
Right, sir. So that's what that is the wisdom that you have to accommodate somebody like me. Okay. So I would say that these are some of the tough questions. I think tougher questions have been asked to her. Okay, than me.
No. The worldview, if you ask me, would be a little difficult. But if you ask me, if you ask me, the story I find closest to my heart is the untimely call. He knows that where Ram worships Durga, and he offers 108 lotus, 108 lotus, and the last went missing. And then he offered to offer his own eyes because he's Kamal and Rajiv Lochan, we call Ram's. Arvind, Rajiv Lochan. So this also indicates his commitment towards everything that he has done or is going to do, or what it teaches us, that if we have given a word, if we have given a commitment, we have to fulfill it. And also, very few people know that once Rama went to kill Ravan, and when he has killed Ravan, uh, since he was also Brahmin, so it was Brahma Hatya in one way. Then Rama goes to a temple which is in Pakistan these days, the Hinglash Mata temple, it's Shakti Peeth. He goes there to for for the penance of Brahma Hatya, and he offers his offering and he did yagna there. And I did not know he has written all that. I only got to read the story later. And Hinglash Ma was supposed to be our Kul Devi, because I come from Mewar, born and brought up in MP. I am from Mewar, and that particular temple was rebuilt by Maharana Kumbha. So that's one family lineage, and I saw it, connecting the dots. But that one act, we call Ram Maryada Purushottam, but that one particular act of, come what may, if I have committed or I have decided something, I'll do it. I'll do it any which way, because I have given a word. So that keeping a word and how you keep your commitment is very, very important these days, and it is a must for people to. We would have thought from Ravana's per se. We may think on, from Ram's per se, or we may think from Sita's per se, or Valmiki's per se. I don't think anybody had tried to look things from Ravana's per se. Things must be very, very difficult for him also, right? And then we realized there are characters which are waiting to be told, and somebody should think from their perspective also. Then there are few characters I was very keen to explore. I was very keen to explore Hanuman. I was very, very keen to explore Sampati. Then we discussed, I was keen to explore Ahalya, because, I had always this doubt that both Vishwamitra and Ahalya went through the same, pain. And why Vishwamitra is Brahmarshi and became Vishwamitra, and Ahalya became stone. Actually, she became invisible in that pig. And the serial told is that stone, so that's her. So whatever, either stone or invisible, but she became something which is not visible or which is not known. Why so? And then we explored Ahalya's story, and rest all stories were discovered and written by him. So he is the author. I try to give input as and when I can.
I think the characters happened more intuitively, I would put it, right? Sabari, for example, everybody knows Sabari's story. Now, what is the difference I brought? It is the only poetry story of which has poetry, if you have noticed, so the poet Ashok couldn't resist, so we said we will have a poetic rendition of Sabari, that is one. Second is, then when you look at Ahalya, and then when we were thinking about Ahalya, then I think the more interesting character that evolved was Indra. Indra is a villain, okay, in this context. And Indra is known for being insecure, and so also he was also a little salacious, okay, in a very euphemistic word. But when you put the journey of Vishwamitra and Ahalya on two parallel tracks, okay, then you realize that this one person, if a person has a trait, it manifests in different forms, like the way we discussed in the chink in the armor, right? It manifests in different forms, the ahankara. So this insecurity is also making him trying to go one up on, Pativratas. He has got a track record, a very dubious track record there, So when you put it all together, the redemption that happened from Rama, Vishwamitra for all people was given the opportunity by Vasishtha to take Rama to Mithila. Okay, it was a sobering experience for Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya born with, and after the journey that he had, and he is related to Parashurama. Not many people, I don't know, many people know that they are like. Correct, correct. And they are related. Okay, I think sister, it's like uncle. There's a relationship. Uh, so that these are the interesting parts that you realize when you bring in. And finally, one event, which is the Ahalya Vimochana, when Ram's dust, like touches Ahalya, and Ahalya comes up. That is the time Vishwamitra actually is redeemed of all his, his human limitations. Okay, which is, I think, going one up against Vasishta. Vasishta has tried to tell him in many forms, but he was always at it. So it is also chiseling of a character. Finally you come to the point what you are supposed to. And if you see, it happens in the same place where, in Mithila, you have the Mithila University, which is where the 24, Gayatri mantras was composed by 24 rishis, and Vishwamitra being the proponent of it. It is actually 24 rishis in every word in Gayatri mantra. So all of them we came to know, and then you realize that it was also the platform where the great Brahmavadinis, the Gargi, Maitreyi, then Vachanakavi, there were 4-5 Brahmavadinis who were and if you read the Chandogya Upanishad, which was actually happening during Ahalya's period, it actually happened that time. That is how Indra and Ahalya meet in that forum, and then whatever happened after, right? But when you zoom in on that, there's so much of literature around that point. Ramayana opens up to Chandogya Upanishad. I didn't know. So when you go there, then he talks about Atman, Brahman. It opens up a different pocket of literature by itself. So this discovery, I could have gone on with another 5 stories, but it had to be limited by my finiteness of time and wisdom rather than. So Ramayana is a multi-lifetime discovery. Any epic for that matter. You can take Homer's Iliad, Odyssey, or you take Mahabharata, which is even more complex, and it is made of so many side stories. This is a endless discovery, but you have to be. At some point in time, you say, "Boss, this is it." You have to be humble enough to accept that you have been given an opportunity to discover Rama and everybody around him. So that is this effort, sir.
Basically, a treasure. You dive deeper, you explore more and more. And it's a voyage of self-discovery at the end, So you keep delving deeper and deeper into it. Now, Shweta, this is a very interesting question which I'm sure everybody is interested. So in your preface, you write, we sincerely hope these tales resonate with you, the reader, and offers a fresh perspective on a beloved classic. Now, your role as a co-author and creative editor, I'm curious, I'm sure the audience is curious to know, how value added is it to any book? From an academic perspective, I'm asking this question.
Thank you, ma'am. So this is one question which is asked mostly to me. What is the role of co-author? What is the role of a creative editor? And what contribution have I positively made to the book? So about my contribution, if I have made any positive, it is there to tell you, and I'm not the person to tell you if I have ever made a right contribution. But looking at it from academic perspective, there's an author who writes. There's a co-author who sometimes extends the stories, shorten the stories, give another perspective to the stories. This is in general per se. He or she may tell you which story to tell, which story we can hold back, which instances to give more focus on, which instances we can just let go. When it comes to a role of a creative editor, I do not know how others do it. The way I did it was making a sequence of the story. And there are small nuances, like we come from a different geography, which is very, very evident here. So he is very well with Pratibhasu Ramayana. Both of us have lived in Calcutta. He has good understanding of Tamil literature and how Ramayana is perceived here. Since I'm born and brought up in the north side of the country, I'm more versed with that story and what people perceive down there and how they see the story. And when you have to bring two perspectives together and make a work which is pan-India, there will be, differences in culture, differences in thought process. For example, when in the story he was sending Ram, Lakshman and Sita to when the one Gaman was happening, he mentioned that all three were wearing white clothes and Sita was in white sari. And of course, this would be taken very, very wrong in North India because married women do not wear. And those times, today people wear everything and anything they want to. Those times, it was considered a taboo. Unless you are a proper sannyasi, you can wear white. Otherwise, if you are in grahast and you are wearing white, it's not allowed. Ashok Subramanian. Second, when there was an instance when he mentioned that Sita was cooking and she was cooking moong dal. Moong dal came very, very later. Moong beans actually came very, very later to India from Africa. So things like that.
I like moong dal.
I also like moong dal, but we have to see the desh kal and paristhiti when we are writing or editing things like that.
Some wild beans or something.
Yeah. And then there was this incidence of Lakshman Rekha. So very first thing,
Corner to corner, not leaving an inch.
right. So then Lakshman Rekha. So initially there was no Lakshman Rekha, and then that Kriti Basu has taken Lakshman Rekha. We took the Lakshman Rekha, and then he mentioned limestone. I said, how did Lakshman get the limestone in a jungle? So the forest would have limestone. I said, no. So this is decorative and it's made of igneous rock. There are only black rock. So either he would have done it through his arrow or some, stick. So there's no limestone. And we had a discussion over that. And then there are a couple of good incidences where we had almost debate.
One question.
Yes, sir.
These are all facts you are saying. How
Yeah.
it is creative? What is the creativity that you are telling? See, suppose I say I
Right,
give
right.
wrong. This is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I give. Okay?
This is correction.
What is the creative thing?
So when you do this changes the creative thinking of the author. So I have to mark him there so that he can rewrite or he can create his own work again. Yeah. So this is fact checking. There's one editing which is language editing and it's typesetting and grammar editing. Then there is this type of editing where you have to fact check things, make the flow of the book, put which instance should come further, which instance should come later, which instance we can just let go of. What characters
can change.
right?
And basically the summer, the dialogue part, where I think the creative challenge that I have.
Projecting the scenes differently,
Huh.
but with some interest which will
Correct.
capture the audience.
Yeah. Because
That is where the creativity comes.
see, and also the reason that this combination has worked well for us is that we've got few more books coming in. The key part was, however I tried to remove the male perspective in the storytelling. I think I'm walking into a trap. I know. You have to look at it because if you look at my larger body of work, I have very strong female characters. Okay, and these are people who I'm talking about the contemporary fiction. I give strength to women, and men are still trying to figure out the strong women. That's one of my way of writing. But I think when you write that, you still are not 100%, because you end up adding a male perspective or a commentary to a woman's story. Okay, and that is not the right way to write. Okay, so you need to, I would say, desanitize that part in creativity, because all of us, all of us being, because our society has changed over a period of time. We have found more strong women, we all know, right, at our home. Okay, all of us sitting here still figuring out our better halves in our lives still, right? So from that perspective, I hope all of you,
can interrupt for a minute. See, Ramayana, the essence, the Vaishnava Acharyas, they discovered it long back.
Correct, sir.
See, all these things are written only by rishis. Even take Devi Bhagavata, not written by a woman.
Okay.
But when they, how they bring it out. See, what is the essence of Ramayana? In the Sri Vachana Bhushana of Sri Vaishnava Acharya, இதிகாச சிரேஷ்டமான ராமாயணத்தான் சிறையிருந்தவன் ஏற்றம் சொல்லிட்டு சீதாயா சரித்தம் மகத்தி. Though it is called Ramayana, there were people have already understood, written by this was back one point. Similarly, when she mentioned about the dress, there's an interesting thing. And only 1 minute I don't want to take.
Please, sir.
So what happened was, in the Ramayana, the entire thing is seen by Valmiki. Nobody knows that. If you read this one, Sanjay Vacha, you will say that. That is not the first time. But Brahma empowers Valmiki to see everything. What has happened. That is why he is also saying when Ravana takes Sita, he is just explaining what has happened. That's why it is a great critique. And another thing, when Keikei says Rama should go to the thing, then they change the dress. She says, no, immediately you have to this. I am telling all my things are based on Valmiki Ramayana. Okay? Though I know that there is Manas also, there are some instances which are totally different compared to here. What happens is, Sita doesn't know because she is from a royal family. She doesn't know how to wear Marauri. Okay? These robes made of
Bark of the tree.
Rama helps her to wear this. This is given to Valmiki. Thank you.
Rama knows this.
Rama knows.
He knows.
He knows everything.
Okay.
Because he helps her to wear this saree. That's what I am telling you. Very interesting. Which is there in the Valmiki Ramayana. Therefore,
So the duty of husband, so if wife doesn't know one thing or is
He
unable
helps.
to do one thing, it's duty of the husband to
Help.
help the wife.
that is the point we are
Not
trying to
because
make.
he was royal king or not because he was a prince.
At least he is attempting
Because he
to
was
help.
the
Yeah, he's attempting.
Attempting to help.
Yeah, he's attempting to help. I mean, I was asking, how does he know to wear
Yeah.
that?
Maybe
See, but,
he must have done an ashram or
but
something.
I think the beauty of Ram, I think there's a question, I don't know. 16.
More no. Less than 16.
Yeah.
We can go on and on, then but we have to, yeah. So Shweta, I'm coming to you again. See, Ashok has given you enough compliment and he's written you the current that carried him forward from the first story until the final redemption. So that's enough compliment and more as well. But I'm asking this from a very mundane point of view. We were talking about male, female, we were just discussing it. And were there many agree to disagree moments? And how did you arrive at a consonance? Particularly, I'm asking this question because we say men are from Mars, women are from Venus. From that point, I want to ask this question. I know it's mischievous, but I would like to have your answer.
So we had many incidents where we would not, conquer on a point. And then I would ask him, okay, fair enough, you have written it, you have done this. From where have you taken this point? If a particular point he has written, without, including men, women, even if he was a woman and even if I was a man, my duty was to make sure that the work is most true to the original format of the writing, without making it sensational, without making it syllable. Then I would ask, where have you taken this point from? And he would tell me, he has taken this point from blah 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 source. I would go to the source. I have ordered some Quran just for the revision purpose and correction purpose. So I have ordered some Quran. I would go to that particular khanda and mark. Okay, this is what he has written and this is what he has taken. But one point I have asked him to mellow down the idea thing. That is where I would put my foot down. That no, I am not. If it is going like this, I would not want to have my name on the book. We had discussions, we had debates. Somewhere I agreed, somewhere he had to agree upon. So the intention was to give our best to the audiences, to the readers, without diluting the sacredness, the authenticity, and the factual interpretation, and the reverence that people have for the original work. So this I would not say is a retelling or is a modern perspective of Ramayana. This is just touching upon Ramayana as deeper as we can from the little understanding that we have of the epic, the characters, and whatever devotion or the guidance that has come to us.
We all know Rama and Sita are the chief protagonists, but there are others who have also played a role in this book. And see the times of Ramayana. Every character is equally important. But then you have the protagonist as Rama and Sita, and as Sir said, Sita. So Sita is born of the mother. Likewise, Ahalya. See, Ahalya is the daughter of the creator. So I don't want to touch more upon that.
So,
Yeah.
can I understand that because of your inputs, like we would have heard the Ahalya's voice too?
It's his work. I just told him that okay, I have this doubt that
I'll come to that point.
Yeah.
As I
So
said,
can we discuss, or you want to discuss now, or later?
to her
Offline.
answer.
Offline. We'll take that offline, because others are waiting. We'll take it offline if you don't mind, or we can take it at the end of it. Yeah. Okay. Looking back, is there any story that is closest to your worldview? I'd like both of you to answer that. Any particular story closest to your worldview? Both of you can answer that.
I think of all the stories, I cried in for Indrajit. Okay, when I wrote the story, because I think to face a situation where his wife, who was his, I think it's a love story by itself. Somebody can write. I would encourage them to write. Sulochana, and Sulochana is the daughter of Adisesha, no less. So she has got Devamsha in her, and then Adisesha in the form of Lakshmana, manifests a curse because Indrajit was audacious to go on a misadventure with Seshnag. Seshnag was I would say gracious enough to accept him as his son-in-law, and after their union is when he curses, a father-in-law cursing his son-in-law and knowing that he will come back in a form to disrupt his puja, and that is when Indrajit steps up as, so far he was relegated to be just a warrior, Maharati, and you go and fight, don't ask me dumb questions. He was not entertained in the Rajya Sabha. Not many people know that. Ravana had a very dim view of Indrajit's intellect. Okay, but when he goes and he steps up and says, these are not ordinary people. There's no way they could have survived the third day. No, I see the end of this. So why don't you give up Sita? And then he's been called traitor. That day he still goes to war. Okay, called by traitor by his father, and will be killed by his own father-in-law. Okay, and his wife knows he's going to the war, and she would not see him again. Okay, that is a very, it is, you have to just gravitate the situation to that day, those hours, and you will feel, your heart will melt for him. Okay, so I'm saying that Ramayana is a very complex story if you go in, and every character had the good in them, and they would try to appeal to the right side of Ravana many times, right? So, and it is not that they appeal for appeal's sake. They appeal because their own lives were at stake. Okay, and still it had to happen. And today, you are seeing the the geopolitical situation. There are so many good advisors around, but still, if things have to happen, things will happen. So this is a timeless situation that we are facing. But for that moment, give a thought to Indrajit, and that's when I felt that story really moved me when I wrote. And it is a beautiful construction by Valmiki. Sandhyavandanam, right? So we picked up that's the topic, and it is a river that you can do parikrama. It's a very beautiful story. Okay, it is and it has got so many kshetras. My source of work will be Skanda Purana because, and then we will lean on others. That is one. It's in research format now. It's about 30-40 chapters. It looks like a bigger book than this at this point in time. Then the next book that I have started, I think again Rama was gracious enough for me to point the direction. I've written the first book called Lord in Sand, which is the first story of Jyotirlingas of 12. Then the third book we want to explore is Mahabharata. If we can do something like this in Mahabharata, still exploring. So the idea is that I think Rama has pointed the direction to the next books.
You have to come to Krishna finally. You have to come to Krishna finally.
Finally, yeah. Sarvam Krishna Varpanam. So we'll end there. So we'll end there.
See, I have seen great Vedantis like people who talk about Vedanta and things like finally they find solace only in pursuing Bhagavatam.
Correct.
Because beyond that, man understands.
இது கன்க்ளூட் பண்ணாதானே நான் முடிக்க முடியும்.
It is.
Yeah. So this book has been launched in several cities already. That's what I read, and you told me about it. So was there any reader response that fascinated you or caught you off guard? Both of you can answer. That reader, yes, you can catch hold of her, but other cities also.
I think the title invited a lot of discussion, but there is one crowd, Gen Z, which is more, it was kept in mind that this book also may serve them as a path to the larger pitch. It creates enough interest. That is one source of what you call origin. But then a situation comes, okay. Even and this you have discovered, this question is being asked by, I think, Angad to Ram. You are yourself divine, and they all knew that. It's not that they didn't know that, but you still do that. Then he says, "See, today I am here. Okay, you need to be humble enough to accept that there are certain, certain. The universe is larger than I play a human, and I need to perform this as a duty. As I perform this from Atma Rama. So it is a manifestation of the humanity that it is very hard to see. If he peels away and says he is Narayana, then the whole thing is over, right? Then there is no opportunity for anybody to be humble again. So, and that is where Ravana and Ram become different, right? He is supreme, but still he had the allowance to take positions which are humbling enough for him. Him is with H capital. Okay, and that is a lesson that we should take away.
That is the meaning of the word avatara. Avatara means the person who is in a higher pedestal. He just comes down and he mixes with everyone like an ordinary being.
Anyone
I think, but from our perspective, we are, limited wisdom people, creators, to see that he has to perform that still. That's what I was coming to. The avatar still has to perform.
So the tribes
But he performs very well till the end.
Yeah, that is
For example, Krishna has all the Chausak Kalais and all the Leelas, and he had the liberty to perform everything. Rama confined himself in the human form and the human Maryada, that I'm in the form of this.
moral order, piety, duty was most important. Everything else, so that's it. Yeah.
Dharma.
So dharma. Holding on to dharma amidst whatever, even nothing or say, even at personal
Krishna
level.
says, Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam.
Yes.
Therefore, it's about that. What is dharma is a big topic. Really, should congratulate both of you. Done
Yes, yes.
as you work.
So
Only thing what I want to tell is that, with your permission, because the Shanta is not unknown to us. In the Orthodox world, why I am telling is, for rain, if it is not raining, there is a special sloka for
Yes,
Rishashinka
for the
and Shanta.
rain, yes.
Okay. The Kanchi Mahapariva also has said that, and we have done and got rains also. I have done. I am telling you that. If you permit me, just only that sloka, I just want to recite that. Because there it is mentioned as Shanta Pati. The greatness of the Rishashinka, see, like Sita Pati or Radha Pati, Because from the wife you get that sort of power. Only 1 second. Because I felt very happy that you could choose this and then make it.
Very. I thought this is the biggest.
No, this is the satsang that is happening, not an authentic.
This is the biggest recognition of our work.
No, it's because I know that the right thing anyone can say. The moment they take the pen or they sit on the computer thing, they will know how difficult it is. Because if you don't write, you are a man of wisdom. If you write, you are caught. That's what that is the thing. That's why you have to operate with this.
Please.
1 second, sir. Please. Because for her only, because it is all of you, she is also there.
Today, tomorrow is Women's Day. We will celebrate the women.
I will read the Rishya Singaya Manaye Vibhandaka Sutaya Cha Nama Shantadhipataye Sadhya Sadvriti Hetave Vibhandaka Sutta Sriman Shantapati Akalmashaha, the greatest of the one. Rishya Singha Itikhyataha Mahavarsham Prayachatu. This is very important. All the people reject that. Nothing. Therefore, the Shanta is known. But whether she is the daughter of the Shweta, what happened, what is the sacrifice, like this cinema review, no, we should not tell. Therefore, we want to buy your book and then read what you have done. Thank you.
That's interesting. So,
Actually, I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ashok Subramanian, because without reading his stories, I wouldn't have known about Shanta at all. Actually, I didn't know that such a character existed at all. So, actually, it was an eye-opener for me. Thank you.
It is a very limited, I would say, exploration of this Mahasagar of Ramayana.